Well, when Mike was 15, I baptized him at a youth camp, and he never really got traction in his faith. And by the time he was a late teenager, he started going down the wrong road. And actually, from the time he was 19 till 42 years old, off and on, he spent most of that time in prison. And so the last time he went in for aggravated robbery, he came to me and asked me to come and see him, and I went to see him, and he said he was sick of that life and he wanted to change it. And I said, well, you know, if I can help you, you know, if you're ready to turn your life over to Jesus and commit to him and be the person God calls you to be, then I'll try to help you. So for 6 years, I would go visit him in prison, and we talked about what got you in here, what's going to get you out, what's going to keep you out. And so Mike started getting traction in his faith, and his faith started growing. And so one day in the visiting room, Mike asked me, well, who do you like, country star? And I said, well, he said someone living. And I said, well, I kind of like the old country. And he said, well, but who do you like? I said, well, I like Toby Keith. I like Toby Keith's songs, and I like Toby as a man. So the conversation went on. I never thought any more about it, but what I didn't know was behind the scenes, after he got out of prison, he wrote Toby Keith a letter and told him that, and he calls me Pa, not his biological Pa, but he calls me Pa. He said he thought that I'd really helped him in life and so forth, and he bought a guitar and sent it to Toby Keith and asked him to sign it. And months went by, 5 months, 6 months, 7, 8 months went by, nothing happened, so he figured, well, it wasn't gonna happen. Well, I didn't know any of this was going on, and then one Wednesday night at services at church, Mike asked if he could say something to the congregation, and I said, sure, but you know. So he got up in front of the congregation and he told his story about how he wanted to give me something special because he thought I'd helped him. And so he told how he had sent Toby Keith a guitar and asked him to sign it. And Toby sent a letter back and said, no, I won't sign it. And then he brought out this real nice guitar that Toby had signed, and Toby said, no, I'm going to sign one of my personal guitars that I've made music with. Give that to your Pa. So he presented that to me that night.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's a great